Philadelphia. And even the Philly guys was like, well, these dudes are different. Angelique Cotaldi said, you guys did something to the city I've never seen done ever. And we've had simulcasts with people at crosstalks.
And they thought they were sharks, and we told them we were orca whales. I knew you'd like that. I just keep upgrading.
That's a two. That's good material, man. And the fact that I know what the whale is because of Baby Ches, it's the only reason why I know what that is, because we've gone to the Monterey Bay Aquarium a million times in the California Academy of Science. I haven't talked to Shayna Rubin in a long time. I love Shayna Rubin. She's, talk about people who's come up. We talk about our journeys or whatnot. I remember Shayna Rubin being in the press box, quiet as hell, back in 2014, 15, and she's worked so damn hard. And for the Mercury News, now for the San Francisco Chronicle, and now she's on the Giants beat, and she's done everything. Warriors, A's, Giants, you name it, all the odd jobs. Shayna, it's always good to have you on the Morning Roast. I'm proud of you. You're doing great work, and now you're covering this team. What's going on, Shayna? Good morning.
What's up, Ante? I like that hype up. Thanks so much. Good to talk to you guys.
Hey, that's what we do. We hype our people up, but you deserve it. You really do deserve it. You're doing a great job.
Oh,
your first year on the beat for the Chronicle with the Giants. So let's just get right to it. The moves. How'd you react to the trade deadline yesterday with the Giants, what they did or what they didn't do?
I mean, it's a lot of what we've seen in the past, right? It was surprising and yet not a surprise. It's par for the course. They did a lot and not a lot at the same time. I wrote, and I know this might trigger some Warriors fans out there, but I wrote that it was a little too Timelinesy. Mm-hmm. They don't have a Steph Curry, but it reminded me a lot of what I saw covering the Warriors, which is they have two objectives that they're trying to accomplish when they're going to the trade deadline. And I think that's sort of what we're seeing now is we're seeing, they want to develop their young players. They want to give their young players opportunities, but they also have to put up, I don't want to say it's a front, but they also have to keep together what they think is going to get them postseason opportunities. Yeah. So it feels like there's two things going on and they're trying to make it into one thing.
Yeah. Shayna, I'm just curious, it seems very incongruous. Like, we're going to stand pat, but we're also going to sell off Soler. And as bad as Soler might have been, throughout the year, he's still one of the best players on the team. And I see the lineup that they trot out there. You're in the locker room or the clubhouse every single day. How did this Soler move land? It was odd to me, considering the lack of other moves around it.
I mean, I think I wasn't expecting. It was a possibility, Soler he's a great player. He's a power hitter. I'm sure there's a lot of guys. Obviously, there were some teams out there that were looking for a little pop and ejection into their lineup. I think that there was a little bit of, I'm not shocked, but it was a little surprising. That was someone that was far down on the list of guys that I expected to go. And I think Elliot Ramos talked a little bit about, he's right around the corner from Soler. I think they were pretty close. And it's a little bit just like losing any veteran player. It's a little bit of a stunner, but it happens.
Shayna Rubin here on the Morning Roast, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands, River Islands and Lathrop? So you've covered this team, and you've been in the locker room, in the clubhouse, and you've been on the road with them. Do you get the sense that the Giants have to make the playoffs in order for Farhan Zaidi to keep his job?
I think that I don't know if this is the fail-safe year for that to happen. I think he's operating, it seems, with a little bit of leeway. I think that and by leeway, I mean, it seems like I was talking about before, there's 2 feet in different doors. There's the foot that sort of he wants his guys to come up and show that they are able to take this team to a playoff in the coming years, whatever he has left, and that he wants to get butts in the seats. He wants to generate some excitement with a mix of young and veteran. So I'm not going to – I don't think I can say definitively that this is a do-or-die season for him, because I don't think that there's a whole lot to substantiate that. But it does feel like there's a clock on it. I don't think that he has all the time in the world. I don't think that it's fair for me to come out here and say that there's a deadline,
right,
postseason or bust, he's gone or not. But I do think that, there's every reason to start wondering if the hot seat gets hotter as more time passes. I don't think that he has the longest leash ever. If you continue to play 500 baseball, I will take 2021 out of the equation. If you continue to be a mediocre team and say we have postseason aspirations, but you're hovering under or just over 500 for most of those years, then how long can that's not really sustainable. So I think logically speaking, at some point there has to be a line drawn in the sand about when there has to be a shift in philosophy or a shift in leadership or a shift in voice.
Hearing
yeah.
No, I don't mean to interrupt you. That's my fault. I apologize. Hearing Farhan say, well, Bob really wanted me to trade, and I'm paraphrasing, from Mark Canha. Are these two even on the same page? Like, who's writing out the lineup cards every day? Like, I was perplexed by that line.
From my understanding, they're on the same page. I don't think there's, I think that's, if anything, just, and Bob said something about not Canha specifically, but that as the trade deadline, he thought the trade deadline was on Monday. So he was calling up Farhan, asking what's going on. We should do this, making his suggestions. I think that he's just got more and more involved in what he would like to see happen. He said pretty openly that he was vocal about some of his ideas. And I mean, the Matt Chapman signing, that was not all Bob, but I think that he was happy to see one of his guys come back, and he loves Mark. I mean, Mark Canha he's a good clubhouse guy. He's a good veteran. I mean, aside from the baseball stuff, which I think is pretty conflicting, given they want to give young guys opportunities, and this maybe completely blocks Luis Matos.
Mm-hmm.
But so that was a little bit of a confusing, just ideological flaw. But that's not to say that Canha isn't a great addition. But just in terms of them being on the same page, I didn't take that as a sign that they weren't on the same page. I think it was a sign that they're in constant communication.
Well, it does sound like, Shayna, they're going to rely on the starting rotation. Farhan opened that statement saying, hey, we feel like we got the best rotation in baseball. And hopefully it is the best rotation in baseball, because God knows this bullpen needs a break, right, Shayna? This workload with the bullpen, they need Snell to go 6. They need Robbie Ray to go 6. They need Webb to go 6 and 7. They need these youngsters in Birdsong and Harrison to go at least 6. And that, to me, is a major concern. The lineup is one thing, but, boy, you're putting a lot of pressure on this pitching staff, right, Shayna?
Yeah, I think, and we asked Robbie Ray about this yesterday, a few hours ago, Farhan basically said the rotation will take us as far as we can go. How do you feel about it? I was like, yeah, that sounds good to me. But it's a lot of pressure on them, right? And now with Alex Cobb gone, you have two rookies leading the charge along with, Snell and Cobb and Logan Webb and Robbie. But it's a lot on Hayden Birdsong, who is fresh in the league. But it's also what they've been saying since the start is this rotation. That they weren't saying this rotation is the best in baseball, which is something that Farhan said. But from the start, they've said we're going to lean on our pitching to get us as far as we think we can go. And now they're leaning even more in that. Now that it seems to be one of the only distinguishing factors they have from the other wild card contenders. And it's a lot of pressure because with Robbie, I mean, he's just fresh off of Tommy John. He's still sort of landing back into the league. And we saw yesterday, the first game was impressive. There was a lot of adrenaline pumping when he was his first game back, but now a reality hit a little bit where it's like, it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment, and there's not a whole lot of runway for him to make mistakes. And with Blake Snell, I mean, I think we've got a good taste of what we all expected to see from him, which is dominance. And then Logan Webb, he's been quite a little bit inconsistent over his last few starts. And I'm not saying I'm concerned about him, but just pointing out that there's a very slim margin for error with the rotation. And a lot of expectation that they're going to lift them above 500, and they've just not been able to get there otherwise. So, and yes, the bullpen's been sort of carrying them a lot of the way, but now we have to see something that was promised at the beginning of the year, which is this rotation is better than this rotation is better than most others. And we'll see. There's only a few weeks left. So we'll see if that's possible.
You have obviously covered the Warriors, and you know how crazy their fans are. Is this the most unhappy you've seen a fan base? The Giants? Like, I'm sure you hear online, in person, a lot of negativity. I'm just curious.
Warriors, Niners, all that stuff.
Yeah, like what? Like, is this? Because I feel like this was a tipping point this last 72 hours for Giants fans.
I mean, I can't take the justifiably unhappy trophy from the Oakland A's, who are getting everything taken from them.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So take them off the table.
That's a good point.
Respective people. But I understand why Giants fans are not happy. There's no clear way out of what we're seeing with this team. There's a lot of, it seems like there's some contentment with the mediocrity. And that's what I imagine made the trade deadline so frustrating, is that it's like, what you're seeing is what you're going to keep getting. And we hope that we improve more in this margin and that margin. And I understand why fans might be annoyed that there doesn't seem to be a clear direction. And by that, I mean, what I was talking about before, you pick a lane. Either you are going all in on the youth and okay with not tanking, but bottoming out a little bit and then hoping that things rise from there, or you're okay with spending a lot and going all in on veteran players or free agents or anything like that to avoid the ugliness of watching a young team evolve. But I think that I understand the frustration of what comes out of towing the line or threading the needle. So are they unhappy on Twitter? They look pretty unhappy to me. I try not to base my opinions of what's going on Twitter, but I understand the frustration. It's frustrating when it feels like you're watching the same show over and over again and you're promised a change and the change never really comes. So I get it.
Boy, Twitter's never happy. Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter, it's just, we don't find happiness in Twitter. We just don't. And Giants fans right now are not happy.
There's no happiness there.
No, well, I don't think Giants are happy. Off Twitter, on Twitter, on
memes
Instagram.
Are funny, though.
The memes are always funny. Just don't like them, Shayna. Don't retweet them. Don't press retweet.
We'll try not to.
Win. All right. Shayna Rubin here on the Morning Roast, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. Shayna Rubin, Giants beat writer for the San Francisco Chronicle. Keep up the great work. We're always reading.
Stuff.
We're always watching. Thank you so much. And congratulations, man. You've really come up in this business. Love seeing your rise.
Thanks, y'all.
Anytime. Shayna Rubin here on the Roast. The two-time, it's certainly...
Yeah, but this is where I got into it. I'm glad you brought this up. This is where I got into it with Willard, and I'm not trying to pick on Mark. Yep. But Mark's like, if the young guys don't play well, you are resorting back to the old guys. Dog, that makes sense when you have franchise players that are playing for legacy.
Yep.